podcast, No.2. Just wanted to talk to you guys real quick about some of my future episodes and future thoughts. I'm planning on doing a top 10 anime list. I got to do some research on that, but just for give you an example of some of my favorite anime: Cowboy Bebop, Wolf's Rain, Gundam series. I believe it was Mobile Gundam Zero. I'm not sure. I have to go back, or G4. I'm not sure. There's so many of them, so I have to look. I have to check which one it was. But I like the anime that came out in the '90s. I don't like the stuff that's out now. Every character seems the same. They have like these man boy characters where they have this young boy with the same type black hair, and he's weak and he's small, and somehow he ends up becoming the most powerful character in all the anime. And the it's the same plot with the non-requited love, and it just gets tiresome. I like the old stuff, Evangelion, Berserk. I even like Bleach and Naruto to some extent, even though they got a little derivative and tiresome and got got old at the end of it. You should have wrapped it up a lot sooner. I'm digging the Dragon Ball Z Super stuff. I haven't really checked out an episode yet, but I've seen the 2 movies. I think that's really cool. I always loved Dragon Ball Z, so that is really awesome to see coming back out again. It's one of the best animes ever. And well, right now my sons are into Pokemon, which is cool. I mean, if that's your introduction to anime, that's great. I wouldn't say it's one of the greatest animes of all time, but it's a good introduction to get you into the good stuff. So that's one of my topics: top 10 animes, top 10. I'm into wrestling, so my top 10 wrestlers of all time. I'll be talking about wrestling characters and which were best came out in the history of wrestling. Not just WWE, but ECW, NWA, Ring of Honor, and ECW. I also talk about Star Wars, which of course you can't do a nerdy podcast without talking about Star Wars. Star Wars is the be all end all, and I think that deserves an applause. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You know you want applause. You know you want to clap for that. Star Wars is the greatest. Star Wars 4, 5, and 6, by the way. The prequels were, to say the least, not very well done, but I watched them anyway because I'm a Star Wars freak. I did like the last one that just came out, with that introduces to Rey and Finn, The Force Awakens, and I think that was pretty good. That was really good, and I'm looking forward to The Last Jedi when it comes out later on this year. So also about Marvel, I was into I was a big comic book nerd for a long time. Collected comics for several years. I collected Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse. Wednesdays was like a holy day for me, and I went and I bought my collection of comics every Wednesday. So I'll have a top 10 list about my top 10 favorite comics of all time. I just gotta research it and do the dialogue, and I'll take your comments and whatever you think is would be good to talk about. And I just want to make it short today because there's not much. This is just a short introduction to my future podcast and some of the thoughts and interests that I have. I'll go into further analysis and critique of the Dragonlance Chronicles and the parts 1 with the companions on their quest, and part 2 with the brothers on their test of the twins with Christiana. I think we have to talk about that a lot because, like I said, it doesn't get enough credit when credit needs to be given to those 6 sets of books, which by far are one of the best science fiction books of all time. I remember I spoke to a friend of mine who was into science fiction, and he asked me what books influenced me, and I told him Dragonlance, and he sort of like lifted his nose at me kind of arrogantly and sniffed at me and didn't really take me seriously. But I mean, not all science fiction should necessarily be relegated to just Tolkien and Game of Thrones. There's other stuff out there, and this is, even though it was simple and easy to read and not intellectually as stimulating or as broad as J.R. Tolkien and the Rings trilogies, it is a great series of books, and it must be given its due. And I think I'll talk a lot more about those books in future podcasts. And of course, my favorite character, Raistlin, who with his hourglass eyes can see right through you and see your time fly by. I mean, that just goes to say the guy's the coolest character of all time, and I really dig him. And I also dig if you dig Raistlin, then you got to dig Drizzt Orden, R.A. Salvatore's character in the Drizzt Orden series of books from Forgotten Realms. That is the dark elf who's like the greatest fighter of all time, and that is a cool character. That is a really cool character, and I think that I'm going to talk about him a lot more too, because I think if he's not influenced by Raistlin, he takes after Raistlin. He's sort of like a Raistlin clone, but done well, very well done. And Drizzt Orden is awesome in every aspect. I'll also be talking about strength through. This is an all-encompassing podcast, not just about nerdy stuff, but about if you're feeling down and you're feeling out and you want to talk about something that'll lift you up and how you can better yourself through science fiction, through anime. Just think of it this way: there's nothing you can't do. These characters are all down and out, and through strength and through power and through the strength of will, they better themselves and make themselves greater. And that's what always stuck with me and always left an impression with me. And I think that I want to talk about stuff like that on my podcast. Betterment of yourself. And my wife is always trying to get me to read self-help books. I try to read them, but when I think about it, the science fiction and fantasy books that I do read are technically self-help books. You know, the characters I read, the characters I associate with, are all weak and put upon in the beginning, but through strength and hard work and will, they make themselves greater. They take the criticisms as fuel to make themselves stronger, and that's what's always left an impression with me. Those are always the characters I strive to emulate and stick with. And this is my podcast. That's basically what I'm going to be talking about. And I also need help. I'm trying to get into the Magic the Gathering games, and I've watched a couple of podcasts and listened to a couple of podcasts and watched a couple of YouTube videos, and I have no idea how to start up a game, how to build my deck, and I'm so intimidated by going into the comic book store and trying to play a game there because everybody there seems so serious about the game. So if anybody has any help or can give me some suggestions on how to get started, I'd greatly appreciate it. Or a podcast or a podcast or a YouTube video channel that I can watch that can help me to break into this card series. I'd really appreciate that because I'm into fantasy and I think that those cards are so cool. I have a pretty large collection now, but I haven't built my first deck. So I like looking at the pictures, but I like to play the games if I can. So anyway, this is my podcast. This is just for this number 2, and I hope you like it. And any thoughts or suggestions, leave it on the links below. And I'll see you next time. I'm out.